So like it says in the thumbnail, when I was about 18, I posted some shit on the internet that said something like that. Like I didn't feel sorry for old people in wheelchairs. Now here's the deal. My theory was if you're old and you're in a wheelchair, that means when you was young, you wasn't taking care of yourself. And then I also posted something on Facebook, maybe at age, I don't know, 21. It said something like, I don't believe fat women should be employed or something like that. And my theory with that was there were fat women in my life or women who were heavy set in my life who were problematic to say the least, and also those that at whatever job I was working at the time, or they worked in some sort of capacity, like at the DMV. I always found myself running into what I perceived as unpleasant fat women. But let me talk to you about where that comes from. Where does apathy come from? They ate me up in the comments, by the way. And not so much the second one about the fat women. I definitely remember somebody posting, this is the most ignorant thing I've seen anybody say in my life. And then I do remember the first post, somebody was like, cold-hearted ass nigga. and you know how you can like people. I think Facebook had just introduced the ability to like people's comments, and a handful of people liked his comment. Shout out to both of them. Definitely shout out to Eli, bro. I don't know if you ever will watch this, but miss you, man. Hope they treating you right in motherfucking. I can't really. I don't even know if you still living there, but the place you was living last time I checked, you know, the honkies. But anyway, I'm gonna prove to y'all the 6 places that apathy comes from. Let's start off with the first place. Let's talk about my parents, right? So my dad used to drive around Washington Park. If you're not from Chicago, Washington Park is one of the, it has made the list at the top of the list, #1 dangerous neighborhood in Chicago. I think certain lists either have that or they have Austin out west, or one of them west side neighborhoods. But point is, it's rough. It's not as bad nowadays, but definitely during the time in question. And also during the drill era, it was an area you had to like be careful in. But more specifically for the time in question, it was a place. So Washington Park is a neighborhood named after Washington Park, the park. And in the park, my dad would drive through the park, and you would see homeless people sometimes sleeping on benches. You don't really see that nowadays. I haven't seen that. I was living in Hyde Park for the past 4 years, and I wasn't. Hyde Park is right adjacent to Washington Park. I was in Washington Park often. But at any rate, he would drive through and do 2 things. One thing he would do is say, look at this homeless person sleeping on the bench. How many times you think they decided not to do homework? How many times? How hard do you think they should have worked? What mistakes do you think they made to end up in that situation? He also, I remember him driving past and seeing like young brothers, like we was like on the corner of Garfield and State, 55th and State, and so this dude is like, I at that time, and especially now, but at that time, I wasn't giving a fuck about what the fuck I wasn't paying attention to this shit. He talked about, look at these young men standing on the front porch smoking reefer, right? They're smoking weed just publicly. And I'm like, how you know they smoking weed? Look, they're standing huddled in a circle, they're passing it around. And then also, and this one right here is where I want to lead into the discussion about this first place that apathy comes from. This man is like, so there's a dude, young brother, standing on the corner, right? He's like, look at him. You know, I bet you, like a lot of young brothers, they don't want to pay attention in school. But now look at him. He got to pay attention to see if the police coming, see if somebody coming to try to rob him. Now he got to stay up, stay awake, and probably didn't want to wake up early to go to school. Now he got to be out on the corner early. And back then, my thoughts was like, this is pretty intense to just be saying about a motherfucker standing. I didn't think shit like that. Like, this motherfucker is a nut, G. I'm so grateful that I have the power of cutting motherfuckers off. By the way, Dad, I don't know if you watched this last video, but what I said in the last video stands in this video too. If you ever want to hear from my black ass ever again, I need $8,000. I accept $8,000 US dollars. I accept Cash App or Venmo only. Anyway, I'm like, today, I'm like, you bastard, you don't know shit about this young man. First of all, and we'll hear about this later, so keep this in your back pocket. He very well, for all you fucking know, short nigga, could have done very well in school. Doing well in school don't prevent you from being a victim of the system. More on that later. Also, even if he was, first of all, I'm going to say this, but I'm going to say this other thing too. Even if he was selling weed or selling drugs or whatever he was doing, selling squares, whatever the fuck, he could literally need to be doing that shit for all your dumbass knows. But what if he's literally just standing there? What if he waiting for a ride? You feel me? Like, what if, you know what I'm saying? You assumptive bastard. But anyway, so now let's talk about my OG, my mom, right? She is the type of person that will want to use somebody in a family link card. If you're not from Chicago, Link is the program name for our EBT SNAP benefits, right? The blue card we get, that's a link card. That's what we call it. And the shit used to say link right on the fucking front of the card. But anyway, she had asked to use my link card. She had asked to use different people like her sisters, my aunts, or cousins' link card. But watch this. She's a teacher, and anytime any parent pisses her off, or a parent comes to the school dressed or behaved a certain kind of way, she will say something to the effect of, yeah, all these parents, they just ghetto and receive food stamps. And it's just like, man, so what do you really feel about that shit? Because if you don't approve of it, motherfuckers don't gotta let you use their shit. You can shut the fuck up. But more on the entitlement and shit later. But here's another example, right? And I'm going somewhere with all of this shit. Please stay with me. Stay with me. So we got a cousin, right? So the majority of the family live on the south side, period. But me and my mama, everybody in my family either currently lives in the Hunnits or has lived in the Hunnits at some point in time. And in the point in time of question, we was living in the Hunnits. My mama was living in the Hunnits. I was living in Minnesota at the time. But my mom was living in Minnesota. My mom was living in the Hunnits. We got cousins that live. So the Hunnits, if you're not from Chicago, first of all, a lot of y'all don't know this. Chicago is the third largest city in America, right? New York, LA, Chicago. A lot of people don't get that. Chicago's fucking huge, right? We live on the south side of the south side. Well, I currently stay on the south side, but I don't live in the Hunnits now. But the Hunnits, that's the last like part last chunk of land before you're in the suburbs. And we got cousins that live in the suburbs past the north side. You feel me? So edge to edge, wall to wall. No, but we got a cousin, right? He working HVAC. And my mom has had this guy come and fix her refrigerator for free multiple times. Now, all I can say from what I know and from my perspective is she telling me, oh, he trying to tell me how to do it myself so he don't have to come here no more. And he's showing me on YouTube. And I'm like, I'm not finna do this myself. I don't want to learn this. I want you to come out and do it. And I'm just like, oh my fucking God, this is this man's business. He gets paid to do this. He's done this for free. He came all the way from over that way to come all the way over this way. And what the fuck is you talking about? Oh, that's not right. Don't nobody ever want to help me. And we gonna talk about this shit. Shout out to sexy sister Ramani. Y'all know Dr. Ramani, who be talking about narcissists and shit. She broke down a different type of narcissist and shit. I personally feel like in no situation can anybody perfectly fit into any category, which is one of the reasons why I can't stand you stupid Zodiac motherfuckers. But I got a bunch of videos on that, so we don't have to talk about y'all goofy ass belief systems. Not quite. We gonna get to that shit a little bit later on, but not exactly. So hold your horses. But anyway, so my dad. Now, let's start with my mom first, and then we're going to go back since I was just talking about my mom. My mom is half self-righteous narcissist, half covert narcissist. Now, self-righteous narcissist, kind of self-explanatory. Covert narcissist is a narcissist that they think that the whole world is like paranoia and thinking like everything bad just happens to them. That's a form of narcissism where you just think like, this. I really don't want to jump the gun, but we're going to talk about belief systems. We're going to talk, and I got another video coming up where I'm going to talk about belief systems and shit more intensely and intentionally. But a lot of belief systems is just fear-mongering, and paranoia means you think people give a fuck about you like that. You think everybody is out to get you. That means you think everybody care about what the fuck your ass got going on all the time. And that's not the case. Practice Sonder, which is recognizing that every single human being you see got their own very unique shit that they got going on. And it's not everybody out to get your ass. Shut the fuck up. But yeah, that forced empathy, that causes apathy. But we're not talking about that right now. And then my father, he's half self-righteous narcissist and half communal narcissist. What's a communal narcissist? That's the type of asshole like, let's say, Diddy or just anybody that comes across as like this figure that like, oh yeah, I'm here to put black businesses in position and I want black men like a Dr. Umar motherfucker. He's like a communal narcissist, but he's also just like a flat out grandiose narcissist as well. Communal narcissist is where like it relates to the word like community, where like you see yourself and you often are seen due to certain disparities people have, and we gonna get to that, where people receive you as like, oh, this person is a godsend, but in reality, they're a narcissist, and behind the scenes, they're awful to the people in their actual life, or the people that they're closest to, they have more issues with, and the people that they're further away from, they can have this facade that they can hold up because they don't really fucking know them like that. So like all that bullshit my dad says about bootstrapping and all of that, and now look at him on the corner, now he's gotta pay attention, all that bullshit, to my cousins who either didn't grow up with their father, or their father was in and out of jail, or their father did not survive the number one cause that I've been talking about, cause 1 of 6, which is that C word y'all don't like to talk about. People that don't survive that C word as well as my dad can survive it, they look at my dad as like everything my dad say goes. Even people in the family that's older than my dad look to my dad with this sense of reverence, simply because he's surviving that he is displaying characteristics of success within the system of that C word that y'all act like we need so bad. But it doesn't stop there. Because unfortunately, other blunders and bullshit that I used to say on social media, on Facebook, I used to be one of them brothers that unfortunately used to shame women that were victims of SA. And why the fuck am I trying to be monetized? I have no idea how many views this shit is gonna get. But so far, if you look at all the rest of my shit, don't look like this is necessarily gonna be a hit. Bars, but no, but women who have been like raped, sexually assaulted, I had that whole what was she wearing rhetoric, and we're gonna talk about where that form of apathy still plays into that C word. Because here's the thing: the first version of capitalism was slavery, and modern day slavery is capitalism. So you can't run from that. You know what I'm saying? That's a fact. That's a fact, motherfucker. So it's so funny that right at this moment, this beat came on. Shout out to Young Gino Beats, because this song was a song that I made about my ex, the very first girl that I ever fell in love with. And this young lady met me when I was 19 and she was 20. And she was expecting me to jump leaps and bounds through this system of capitalism at 9 fucking teen years old. Meanwhile, even more insult to injury, we met during, go watch my video, that Fight for 15 shit. I was within that bullshit ass, fake ass union shit. By the way, you know how that CEO just got his ass popped? That's the answer. Not unions. Unions are just gangs. I'm from Chicago. We got a street called Union. Motherfucker, you ever heard of goddamn Jimmy Hoffa, motherfucker? The unions, a lot of the motherfuckers in unions, I've talked about this before. That's a history of motherfuckers that are not necessarily anti-capitalist. They're definitely not necessarily pro-communist or pro-socialist. A lot of them are racist pieces of shit. A lot of anti-blackness, even amongst those that are black. But at any rate, she not only met me in the 5 for 15 movement bullshit, she met me after being freshly fired from a minimum wage job. I got fired from making $8.25 an hour, taxed. So I wasn't even seeing the whole $8. And so that led to cheating, because, you know, I personally have never cheated on anybody in my life. That's just not my style, you know. And since my parents are both self-righteous narcissists, I guess some people may think I have quality traits of a self-righteous narcissist. But hey, I do think that is something worth patting myself on the back for. I don't cheat. I don't need to. I'll just leave you. Bars. But anyway, this young lady decided to oftentimes rub in my face the successes of other men and shit. And I'm just like, you know what, bitch, you can have it, because like I'm literally doing whatever I possibly can. You know what I'm saying? Like the only other thing I can do is like crime. You know what I'm saying? Like get the fuck out of my face. But see, here's the interesting thing though. It'll be situations where like I actually would try to help. Like when I helped her move, I had one of my homies use his car to move her shit. And she tried to like scoff at that on some, I could have anybody do that for me, blah, 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 blah. That sense of entitlement goes hand in hand with the apathy that comes from capitalism, capitalistic thought, fapitalism, as I like to call it. And go check out my playlist, Anti-Fapitalism, copyright 2022. That's when I first started using that term. That's when I first made the playlist. But at any rate, um, because she's an artist, Shorty Ass was an artist. But anyway, because she's an artist, and I've also dated another sister who's an artist, and bless her heart too. But a lot of times they don't understand the reality of capitalism. People who make art and try to especially make art for a living, they don't understand that your art and your survival in capitalism are usually never linked. Never linked. You know how rare you can look at all the people, all those stories, them rags to riches stories, and them feel good stories. That shit just fuels capitalism, because all that says is we don't have to change any of the systems. We don't have to fight against the systems. That's like motherfuckers like my dad who don't want to fight against the system. He just wants to preach to you about, young man, pull your pants up and all that dumbass shit. Because a lot of motherfuckers benefit from the system, or think they dumbass can, enough for that to benefit every single human being who is of a similar demographic to them. Like, yeah, I was able to do what other people can't. Other people can do better than they may be choosing to do, because everything we do is a choice. But we not finna play this game of all you gotta do is pull your pants up and pull your bootstraps up. And so this hustle culture and this artistic, I'ma just make a vision board, and then I'ma just will this into existence, and I'ma just be a world star artist. You know how many motherfuckers are collecting crystals, doing the same shit and thinking the same shit? It's not realistic. So what does that play? How do I play into that? Because I'm a man, and because this is a system of capitalism which was branded by Christian conservatism or religious conservatism, which came from colonialism. I, as a man, the man is the head, and God is a man. You know what I'm saying? You're not fighting pay. I gotta say this again. Especially for y'all that haven't watched my other videos. Go watch my other videos. The fucking numbers are puny. So a lot of motherfuckers want to think that they trying to destroy patriarchy, but you're literally worshiping some shit called God the Father. You're not destroying shit. Fuck is you talking about? But at any rate, so a lot of times they will look at a man that they're in a relationship with and say, like, I have to foot the bill. I have to supplement for the lifestyle you think you're supposed to have as an artist or whatever the fuck. I don't owe you shit. I never told you I subscribe to any of this capitalistic or Christian conservative or religious conservative or colonialist thought. I never said that shit once. That's your fault for buying into that shit. I'm sorry, my sister. But what we have to do is dismantle all that shit as best as we can. Now, moving on, that entitlement, that goes back to the shit that my mom be on, because my mom is also an artist. But here's the deal. It also generally creates apathy for men, and no, I'm not trying to do that, men's rights and men, we have to talk about our problems now. Like, nah, all I'm saying is, men push this system. It's like a Ouroboros or some sort of like cyclical bullshit, because it's like, for the men that believe in a lot of this Christian conservative, religious conservative, capitalistic, colonialist bullshit, they have apathy for women because they look at women as second-class citizens. And then the women will say, well, I have apathy for any man that can't survive in this system. And so even if you're trying your best as a man, if you're in a relationship, which is why I'm not against the 4B movement at all. If women say that they, not fucking with us right now, cool. Cause I'm gonna need to explain something to y'all. If y'all don't know this, and we gonna talk about slavery also. The word proletariat means the working class, right? And proletariat stems from the word, it's a Latin word, I believe, proletarius, which means bearing offspring. This right here is going to prove to you that the original capitalism was slavery and that modern day slavery is capitalism. So look, why does proletariat mean what it means and stem from what it stems from? Because in the system of capitalism, if you're not a producer, i.e. a part of the capitalist class, the only thing you can offer into the society is your childbearing abilities so that you can create more workers. And what was they doing to slaves? They was making us fuck our relatives, G. They was making us, they was like, you big and strong, and we're gonna talk about black people's big and strong bodies. So actually, we gonna talk about that shit right motherfucking now. They wanted black people to create slaves that was big and strong. They wanted slaves, period. So they was making us just fuck. They had us on sex farms. You feel me? And you know these crazy ass white people with they sexual deviancy, they like, yeah, you know, fuck this relative of yours. And like, I'm not fucking you. Like, look, either you fuck her or I'ma fuck you. So yeah, let's talk about sexuality and apathy for women, because we got this sister, Barbara Banda, right? Who recently people accused of being transgender. And people are trying to paint this narrative that women being accused of being trans is a trans issue. When time and fucking time again, more often than not, it's black women that are being accused of that. Because if you have apathy for black people, our bodies are just disposable, and you have apathy for women because they're second-class citizens according to your stupid-ass religious books, right? So a black woman, right, that's going to be the least of anybody's interest or concern. So we finna talk about, I'm gonna just get this sports shit out the way, and then I'm gonna tell y'all everything surrounding that shit just to prove to y'all this don't got shit to do with trans shit. This is a black woman issue. This is, as the French say, misogynoir. Listen to me. All right. We got, so I'm gonna spell these names out for y'all so y'all can Google this shit your damn self. So Barbara Banda, that's Barbra, last name Banda. Then we got Castor Semenya. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. It may be Semenya, but I'm not sure. I'm gonna spell it for you. That's Caster, last name Semenya. Then we've got Annette Negesa. It could also be Negisa. I'm going to spell it. Annet, last name Negesa. Then we have Maximilia Imali. That's Maximilia, last name Imali. And then just for good measure, we're going to even throw in a South Asian woman. Because all the women that I named are black. And some people, even Nelson Mandela casually referred to Indian people as black in this book. I've been reading this book. This is a good ass book. This is Long Walk to Freedom. This is the autobiography of Nelson Mandela. Like I said in my last video, go watch my last shit. It's secrets in books. Alright? It's secrets in books. If you black, I'm gonna just pause and say this shit before I continue talking about the black women and everything, and y'all hate for them. I don't care what kind of black you are. You could be half black, a quarter black. Your ass can be a light-skinned quarterback looking ass. You can be curly hair. You can be motherfucking from any country. You can speak any language. If you black, you need to read this book. If you Christian, religious, Muslim, atheist, I don't give a damn. If you communist, capitalist, I don't give a damn. If you black, I've never said that about any book I've read. But if you black, you have to read this book. This is a must. I am so grateful. I've come across so many good ass books, G, for the free. Communism, socialism. I've come across so many free good ass books. Go read this book. I promise you, fam. I promise you, fam. You won't regret it, fam. You won't regret it. Get this fucking book. Get your hands on this book, fam. Immediately, fam. But anyway, so all these sisters that I named were accused of being trans. These are athletes. Yeah, we know earlier this year they accused that boxer of being trans, but only after she won. They won't even let black women compete before they get to start saying, oh, she got too much masculinity. Just hilarious. They tried to say she was a man. Sierra, back in the day, they tried to say she was a man. Megan Thee Stallion, this sister got shot in the fucking foot. And people had what? What's that word? Apathy. They had apathy for that sister. Excuse me, trying to say that she's too big to fight or whatever. But a gun is a dangerous ass weapon, G. That's not some shit to play with. I've been to the range. I've shot. I've had guns in my possession before. I have I don't know, I should be saying all of this shit, but I got my you feel me, my license and shit. That shit ain't shit to play with. You shot a woman, G. You a bitch. Man, look. And I know, just like as a man, I've had to grow. Bars. Like, I didn't think that I wasn't one of these motherfuckers that was saying all the bullshit. But I wasn't necessarily concerned about it because I thought it was kind of like a pop issue. Because I was like, okay, I don't understand, the story not adding up, blah, blah, blah. But when more information came out and I saw the ilk of motherfucker that was like, yeah, this bitch big and tall, I was like, nah, G, that's fucked up. Like, y'all on some other shit. Michelle Obama, they said she was a man. These conspiracy theory dumbass motherfuckers. Another Michelle, say her name, Michelle Dion Peacock. Look her name up, Michelle Dion Peacock. Dion is spelled Dionne. Somebody stabbed her to death because they thought she was trans. This is a black woman issue. Cause watch this, it don't just stop there. Do y'all remember this bullshit? Y'all remember this shit? The Drewski shit? This beautiful chocolate sister that they tried to say, they don't be doing that to white girls and Mexican girls and Chinese girls. They don't do that to them. This don't got shit to do with trans. This is hate for black women specifically. And I'm still not done cooking. But look at this. They got her going through all of this shit. And let me tell you, there are Eurocentric standards of beauty that this woman is still trying to perform. She got her voice sounding dainty, like how white women are taught to soften up their posture and soften up their voice, because you can't sound too masculine, you can't sound too strong, you can't sound too assertive. You see how she covering her face. She got the straightened, long hair, Eurocentric standards of beauty. You feel me? Got her titties all plump and perky. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the style of femininity that white women push. That's Eurocentric standards of beauty. This is about black women. This don't got shit to do with trans. Because I'm not done. Going back to slavery. The history of gynecology. Your OBGYN is only in operation today. I don't care who you letting check up in you. They owe their practice to the mutilation of black women's bodies because they disregarded black women's bodies in a way that they perceived was foreign. They like, oh, they must not experience the same amount of pain as white women. So we can just experiment on their bodies. Right? Sarah Bartman. They had this woman on display. This don't got shit to do with trans. This is hate for black women and black women's bodies. No matter what shape that her body comes in, they're gonna find some weird way to try to look up Satoshi Kanazawa. He's a piece of dog shit. That's Satoshi. Last name Kanazawa. This motherfucker, and somebody told me about this in 2012. They were telling me that somebody did this study. Some doctor did a study about which woman is the most unattractive in the world. And this piece of shit said that it was the black woman. So black women are being, and you want to know what's crazy? I learned about this in 2012, and I'm thinking this study was done in like the 50s or 60s or something. This motherfucker was saying this shit about our women in 2011. When bro told me this shit in 2012, I'm thinking I had no idea it just happened. That was barely 12 years ago. This don't got shit to do with trans. This is hate for black women. They hate us as black people, and they hate women. And if you're a black woman, that's double hate. This don't got shit to do with trans. It's infuriating to hear the left constantly try to co-opt black shit. This don't got shit to do with y'all. Back the fuck up. Hey, go type in Chicago Blues Arsonisto. I ripped this motherfucking beat up, by the way. And I talked about my struggles of being homeless on this song. Chicago Blues Arsonisto. Arsonisto is Arsonisto. But at any rate, this is about the systematic removal of femininity from black women. Systematic. Because of the murder, the jailing, the burnout, the impoverishment, and the demasculinization of our men. They are trying their hardest, their damnedest, to keep black men in a certain kind of context where we are always feeling like we're not good enough. And black women are thinking that we're not good enough. And then black women not thinking they good enough. That's one of the main places apathy comes from. Capitalism. And I got 5 more to go, y'all. Capitalism really affects us in a lot of ways, G. I'm not even done cooking. Because let's talk about one of my other exes. She graduated valedictorian at her high school. But guess what? Going back to my dad and his stupid ass theories, she's still a project baby. She's a Native American. She's black, but she was in a Native American tribe, and she lived in the Native American projects. Y'all should Google Little Earth of United Tribes. It's a project, housing projects. One of the trenchiest places I've ever lived. And I'm from Chicago. I'm from out south. I've been out west. I've been all over. I've been to more than half the states. I've been to probably like 30 states. I've been to the hoods. I've been to Harlem. You feel me? I've been to Atlanta. Trenchy as fuck. Little Earth of United Tribes. Very anti-black up there as well. But anyway, neighborhood, community, plagued with drug abuse. And she's also adopted. And one thing I learned about homelessness and adoptees is that You know, a lot of y'all that's living with family right now, like right now, I'm living with family. Very grateful to have a place to rest my head. However, I would rather have my own bed, bars. And with that being said, um, I need everybody to understand that all of y'all that have the ability to like live with family, I better not ever hear y'all say shit about anybody that's homeless or that don't got, shit going on or whatever. Because at the end of the day, you're homeless. If you living with family, your name ain't on the lease, you homeless. If you above 18, you living with family, you homeless. Sorry to tell you. And so with that being said, a lot of people who are in the foster care system or in the orphanages and things like that, or who are adoptees, a lot of those parents are very abusive and they don't really have a connection with that family. Just they live in that person's house, and by the time they 18, they own their ass, so they don't have nowhere to go. A lot of people from that, you feel me, if they don't make it, or let's say they do make it, they get a job, they fall on their ass in hard times because this economy sucks. It's not designed for you to win. They on their ass. They homeless. She was a career criminal. She was a booster. She sold dope. And I was very, very hard on her. And once again, I apologize. Raven, if you're watching this, I apologize for all of me being rough on you and shit. I think I already apologized, but I'm apologizing again. Just like I apologize to all my cousins, because I was a mean cousin, especially because I'm the oldest out of all my cousins. On my mom's side, I'm talking about. If you're on my dad's side and you're watching this, I don't know how you got here, but welcome. Please wipe your shoes off and please leave as soon as this video is over, because I'm not really fucking with y'all. But at any rate, and this don't apply to all y'all, but most of y'all, don't gamble. But at any rate, so yeah, looking at the shit that my parents was just like, yeah, there's no excuse for anybody. Here's the thing, quiet as it's kept, I'm a hood baby too. I live in the hood right now. Aside from the time where I was living in Hyde Park, and Hyde Park still can get trenchy. There have been shootings in Hyde Park. Obviously, it's not the hood, but there was a time where there was a blue light pole right by that McDonald's on 52nd. So Hyde Park has definitely had its, and it's surrounded by hoods. You feel me? It's an anomaly like a motherfucker. But at any rate, still, I got my stick. This is gonna come up later in the video, so watch for that. And thank all of y'all that's still with me. And I'm finna get to the rest of these the rest of these 5 points soon. But I'm telling you, this capitalism shit is dense. Now let's talk about Amplify fucking Chicago. Amplify Chicago is a program that I'm grateful I was able to be a part of, because I did, benefit from it to some degree, but I didn't benefit from the way that they will claim that you will. That shit didn't change my life or no shit like that. All that shit really did was kind of kept me fed for a while, like they paid us, but really all y'all motherfuckers did was a bunch of bootstrapping bullshit and pissed us off. You wanna know the type of shit they used to do, G? They used to say shit about the real world or whatever. So class started at 9, but you had to be there at 8:45. And if you arrived anytime after 8:59, you were late. Because if you're early, you're on time. And if you're on time, you're late. And in the real world, they're not going to let you be 1 minute. I used to be coming in that bitch like right at 9 or maybe like 5. Only 4 times have I ever come later than 10 minutes. But for the most part, I was there at like 9, 9:01, 9:02. And them motherfuckers was kicking motherfuckers out for being late. And they threatened to kick me out. But we gonna come to that later. These motherfuckers would do shit like have people come like talk to us like a guest speaker. They would have somebody come talk to us for like hours on end, and they would cut into our lunch break. And so they would cut our lunch break short. They wouldn't extend it. They'd be like, yeah, in the real world, you might not even get a lunch break. Like, no, that's illegal, you asshole. They cannot not give you a break. What the fuck are you talking about in the real world? That's what I mean. The capitalism fuels apathy. They should be ashamed of their fucking self. They did all type of shit like that. Also, after they threatened to kick me out, I remember one day, if I would have biked just a little slower, I would have been there probably at like 901, 902. But because I was under the threat of being kicked out, bruh, or sis, I mowed 2 people down on my bike, G. Why? Because I had to turn off my apathy. I had to only focus on myself and only care about myself making it. I didn't have to care about somebody walking there. I just ran them over with my bike twice. 2 people, like within minutes of each other, because like, oh shit, it's 8:56 and they're gonna kick me out. So I'm biking for my life, literally. Just for only 2. So I remember, so there were 2 people who mainly ran it. It was a woman and a man. The woman, she was the one that used to say stupid shit like, this is what happens in the real world. And she also is the one that I told that I mowed 2 people down. When I told her I mowed 2 people down on the way over here, she just kind of was like, and then just turned her head and started talking to somebody. That's going back to that feminine apathy, because we're taught that empathy is a feminine quality trait, and then we're taught to hate women. And then as a man, you can't have empathy and make it, or you can't use your emotions or have any kind of energy in that kind of way and make it in this society. So as a woman, you're taught to completely remove that shit. And ain't no way she gonna even acknowledge no shit like that. And that shit is fucking sad. But at any rate, the guy who ran it, this motherfucker literally said to us one day, because it was like, I don't know, the second or we was probably like 2.5 months deep into the program. This motherfucker said, if any of y'all are late henceforth, you can cancel Christmas. I had to tell him, I was like, bro, you do know that cancel Christmas is what mobsters say when they about to kill somebody. This motherfucker laughed. I'm like, bro, you threatened our lives, motherfucker, over being late? That's sad. Like, you're down bad. Your humanity has been removed. That's fucked up. That's fucked up. You feel me? And literally cancel Christmas, because that little ass check you was giving motherfuckers, people in the group had kids, and they was telling people, yeah, I had to tell them, I was like, listen, these people are heartless. Do not tell nobody that you are a father, and they gonna say, it's not about being heartless. Alright, yeah, the fuck it is. Also, it started off with like 13 of us was supposed to be in this season. 5 of us got kicked out. 2 of the people that got kicked out was because of time violations. Maybe even 3, I think. I think 3 of them got kicked out for some shit like that. And only 2 of us got jobs. And me, one of the 2 people that got a job, I got an apprenticeship. The apprenticeship wasn't a job. Them motherfuckers didn't hire me on. They said they would. They didn't. They're honky devils. Fuck them. I have not worked since. I got late. I wasn't fired or laid off. They just was like, this is the end of your apprenticeship. Thanks, bye. It was unceremonious as fuck. That was late August of last year, 2023. Haven't worked since. And that was the most money I ever made in my life, $25 an hour. Fuck all of y'all, everybody involved. Anyway, man. Where are the other places? No. I got one more for y'all.